Well, BCRI, we're a part of the Birmingham Civil Rights National Monument and an affiliate of the Smithsonian Institution. We're a cultural and educational research center, and we're here promoting a comprehensive understanding for the significance of the civil rights developments in Birmingham. As a part of the movement overall. And we are going on almost 3 decades. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary in November of 22. And we reach about actually a little more than 150,000 people all around the world every year with our award-winning programs. Well, we've got three main commitments. We're committed to preserving and telling the Birmingham civil rights story and being a good steward of the archival and financial resources associated with the story, and creating programs that encourage cultural awareness, as well as championing, of course, civil and human rights by facilitating an atmosphere of dialogue and understanding. So as we are weathering this pandemic, and hopefully it's coming to an end, a lot of our programs are virtual. We do still have a few great things that happen on site, like our MLK Free Day, our Juneteenth celebration each year, commemoration around the Children's Crusade in May, and much more. So since the Institute's inception in 92, we've been focused on educating the public at large about the civil rights movement in Birmingham, as well as the rest of the country. And our education department is dedicated to reaching individuals, young and old, from all backgrounds and all cultural groups, to convey the importance of the movement then and now. So we've got a special emphasis that we've placed on helping teachers to explain the civil rights movement to their students, and the curriculum guide available on our website, the guides available on our website, expand that scope of the civil rights movement topics. For example, some of the lessons plans include history about the Black Panther Party's founding in Lowndes County, Alabama, the significance of Albert Einstein's anti-racism work, and the influence of the movement that Chavez had on the farmers worker movement. And so Dr. Samantha Elliott Briggs, who is one of my personal heroes, has extensive background in early childhood education, curriculum development, gender and race class research, and she led the BCRI curriculum update to where it is now, and she also authored a lot of the lesson plans. Yeah, for sure. I mean, first we have to point out that James Baldwin books are among those on the chopping block, and books like, his Evidence of Things Not Seen about the Atlanta child murders, and Toni Morrison's collections, they're practically endangered. And, so the 1619 Project is an ongoing initiative from the New York Times Magazine that started in August of 2019. It's the 400th anniversary of the beginning of American slavery, hence the name, the 1619 Project. And their mission is to reframe the country's history by putting the consequences of slavery and the contributions of Black Americans at the very center of our national narrative. And of course, you have on the opposition, Trump America's response, the 1776 Project, and they're claiming that all these activists and scholars and politicians are attempting to socially engineer our society and its relation to race and racism and power. So they're a political action committee dedicated to electing school board members nationwide who want to reform public education and the public education system by abolishing critical race theory and the 1619 Project from public school curriculum. And they've even invited folks to report schools promoting critical race theory on their website, which is disgusting to me. And historically, limiting free expression and discussion is a way to maintain power. We know that. This is not new. Bull Connor had book burnings in 1950s Birmingham. And so just like those who have come before us, the leaders that have come before us in the movement, we just have to press on and do what we can to preserve the literature that has been provided for us by our legendary heroes of the past and today. Black History Month means more to me today than it ever did in the past, and it's always been a major part of my heart and soul. But as we move into the future, just as you've just mentioned, we're adding more narratives and more histories, observing deeper. So anything that puts a stop to that, of course, I'm going to fight against, along with my coworkers and all our stakeholders here at the Institute. I think Black History Month is so much more important than just, 28 days of examining particular legendary heroes. I think it also has to ring true as a time to reflect, not just on the movement for civil rights and the things that our heroes did individually, but how they connect us. Since everything is connected, I think looking at their accomplishments on the whole, holistically, and what it has meant for our futures and for our present, that's what Black History Month means to me. Yeah, it's exciting. It's definitely exciting that our presence is more known and our representation is much better. When you look at the history of anti-Black representation in the media, you could easily compare it to the anti-gay representations in the media as well. So it's exciting to see across cultures that the queer histories are being celebrated finally. And I think our libraries, very much for that, I think they have a lot to do with it. Our libraries and the programs that they have, because the transference of culture is so important. And the libraries are designed towards that end. So, sharing cultures. So I'm really thankful for it. I'm excited to see um, not just that people are recognizing the queer community as they exist today, but that is causing them to research and see what impacts that the queer community has made in the past too. South. But our stories are a part of the American story, just like Black history is. And there are a lot to be celebrated. So if I had to mention some, just like off the top, I've listed some of my favorites. And one that I've been celebrating a lot this month that a lot of people don't know about is lesbian drag king Stormy Delivery. And so she was a trans activist, and as well as Marsha P. Johnson. They're two of my favorite Black pioneers who changed the course of history. But from James Baldwin to Chicago's first lesbian mayor, Lori Lightfoot, Black queer Americans have long made history with innumerable contributions to politics and art and medicine and a host of other fields. Last year, David Johns, who's the executive director of the National Black Justice Coalition, told NBC News that as long as there have been Black people, there have been Black LGBTQIA and same gender loving people. And so that means a lot to me because it's true and it's so crucially needs to be noted, and it rarely is. I think about Gladys Bentley. She was Harlem's most famous lesbian in the 1930s, and she's pretty well known, among Black entertainers in the United States, but not necessarily among those who don't identify as queer. And then, of course, Baird Rustin is one that we celebrate every Black History Month and every Pride Month because he was a key advisor to Dr. King. He's a prolific writer and he was a social critic. And he's best known for his collection of essays, Notes of a Native Son. But his novel, Giovanni's Room, that depicts homosexuality and bisexuality, is probably my favorite of his works because it stood out among literary critics. And so these are just a few. There are so many more and more being born every day. Definitely something to commemorate, right? So, of course, we will have a lot of celebrations around that mid-November, our birthday being November 15th. And so we're excited to celebrate those 30 years, but we've got some really cool stuff coming up between now and then. So, of course, March is Women's History Month, and we'll be bringing back the Women Gather, which is a wonderful celebration with not only an art exhibition, but live performances, poetry, women's-centered event celebration, and that's coming up on March 24th. We've been working with the folks at the Birmingham Association of Realtors to develop a documentary film focused on fair housing, and we plan to premiere that in April, which is Fair Housing Month. We're, of course, excited about Juneteenth coming up mid-June, and then immediately after that, we'll be celebrating the World Games here in Birmingham. And so we are excited to collaborate with several partners to tell the story of the athletes who have made a difference through their advocacy for the movement. And so we'll touch on folks like Wendell Scott, Tia Norfleet, Daryl Wallace Jr., all those many athletes that are well known and maybe some that aren't quite as well known in an exhibit that will open here in time for the World Games. And then we also have this fall, so there's a vandalized road sign that is familiar to many, and it's going to travel across the country as part of an exhibit that examines the 1955 murder of 14-year-old Chicago native Emmett Till. And so we're excited to serve as the second tour stop for that exhibition that's been curated by the Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley exhibit, the Emmett Till Interpretive Center, the Till family, and all with the leadership of the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. And we know that subject matter is really difficult, but we agree with the creators that it's really important that we recognize its vital meaning, because it's going to educate families on what happened in the past and hopes of fostering racial harmony and reconciliation today. And, it's also really important that we develop ways to have these courageous conversations with children. So we're really excited about that one coming in the fall. So we have a year full of great exhibits and programs going on, as well as all our virtual programs that run throughout the month and stay online for free on our Facebook and YouTube pages. In addition to just tuning into our virtual programs that are always available online, Facebook and YouTube, we are BHAM Civil Rights. And we also keep updates available on Twitter and LinkedIn with those same handles. You can sign up for our e-newsletter, which is on our website, bcri.org. And of course, you can volunteer. So you do have to be 18 years old, but you don't have to have any experience. We train you on everything that's necessary, and there's no set schedule for that. People volunteer based on their own flexible schedules, some just once a week, some groups just once a month. And so information for that can be found on our website as well. And our members also get the first information on not just exclusive member events, but all the programs that we have here at the Institute. So I would just encourage anyone to go to bcri.org, follow us on social media, click around, and consider being a member or gifting a membership or becoming a volunteer.